You want to know something funny? I'm 102 years old, and I still have things in my cedar chest that I don't need. Lace tablecloths I crocheted in 1985. Beautiful thread, perfect stitches, and my hands are too shaky now to even spread 'em out. So why do I keep 'em? Because we're all silly about letting go. Look, I'm going to tell you about 10 things you need to sell before you retire, or give away, or just let go of. And I'm not talking about your old record collection or your mother's costume jewelry. I'm talking about the stuff that's actually consuming your life, the stuff that owns you while you think you own it. And here's the thing, I learned most of this far too late. I'm telling you now, so maybe, just maybe, you don't have to be as stubborn as I was. Let's start with the big one. Number 1, sell the house that's too big for your life now. My friend Beatrice, God rest her soul, she passed in 2021 at 94 years old. A wonderful woman. She worked as a school nurse her whole life. She had this big Victorian house in Savannah, 5 bedrooms, a wraparound porch, and a rose garden she started in 1969. She raised 4 children in that house. By the time she was 88, she was living in 3 rooms, the kitchen, her small downstairs den, and the bathroom. The rest of the house? Just ghosts, dust, and memories she couldn't visit because the stairs were too much for her heart. Her daughters kept saying, "Ma, sell the place, move closer to us in Charleston." And Beatrice kept saying, "This is where your father carved the Thanksgiving turkey. This is where you had your graduation parties. I can't leave." You know what happened? She took a spill in that empty hallway in 2020, broke her shoulder, and spent her final year in a care wing. The house sat empty, draining her savings until the girls sold it after the funeral. Here's what I want you to understand. A house is just shingles and paint. The love that happened there lives in you. You carry it. You don't need the bricks to keep the memories alive. When my bakery flooded in 1982, I was 58 years old. 25 years of flour and sugar gone in one weekend. I sat on the curb thinking my world was over. Everything I'd baked, everything my aunt taught me, all those ovens and copper bowls, gone. But you know what wasn't gone? What my aunt put in my heart. The way she taught me to feel the dough, to know if it was ready. The way she'd smell a coolin' pie and just smile. That was her way of saying she loved me. The water couldn't wash that away. So if you're rattling around in a house that's too big, paying to heat rooms you never enter, weeding a yard that makes your back ache, sell it. Take the money, find a cozy little cottage, and use the rest to actually live. You're not betraying your past. You're honoring it by enjoying the time you have left. Number 2, sell your need to keep rescuing your adult children. This one's going to make some of you cross. Fine, be cross. Then think about it. My daughter Margaret, she's 76 now, still working as a head librarian, still as headstrong as a goat, just like her mother. When she was 35, she came to me needing money. She'd made some poor choices with a business partner, owed the bank, and was terrified. I gave it to her, every dollar she asked for. I didn't even make her explain the ledger. She's my daughter. What else was a mother to do? You know what she did? The same thing 4 years later, and again 6 years after that, because I taught her that Mama would always write the check. It wasn't until Arthur, my second husband, the light of my later years, sat me down. Arthur said, "Rose, you're not helping her, you're keeping her small." I wanted to snap at him, but he had a way of speaking the truth that made you sit still. He said, "Your daughter is a grown woman with a master's degree. She can find her way, but she..." That was 1996. I told Margaret, "I love you dearly, but this is the last check. Next time, you'll have to find the solution yourself." She didn't call me for 8 months. But you know what? She also never asked for a loan again. And 15 years later, she thanked me. She said it was the moment she finally grew up. So, here's your homework. Look at your savings. Add up what you've handed out to your grown children in the last 5 years. Now ask yourself, Did that money help them soar, or did it keep them in the nest? There are loans for everything in this world, but there are no loans for your old age. Your children have a lifetime to build. You don't. Stop giving away the security you worked a lifetime to earn. Number 3. Sell the expensive toys that became expensive burdens. I knew a woman, Clara Miller. She had an RV, a massive thing, like a rolling mansion. She loved that RV, or she loved the idea of it. She'd talk about it at every bridge game. "Rose, you have to come traveling with us. The open road is freedom." You know how many times Clara actually drove that thing? Maybe twice a summer. The rest of the year, it sat in a storage lot in Phoenix eating her pension. Insurance, tires, engine tune-ups. There was always a leak or a battery dying. One day, I asked her, "Clara, when was the last time you saw a sunset from that windshield?" She couldn't remember. That's when you know you have a problem, when you have to struggle to remember if you're actually enjoying the thing you're paying for. She sold it eventually. It took me 5 years of pestering her, but she did. And she told me afterward, "Rose, I feel like a weight is off my chest. I didn't realize that motorhome was so heavy." That's the secret about things. They don't just sit there. They tug at you. They demand cleaning, space, and worry. Everything you own takes a little piece of your spirit. And in your golden years, your spirit is all you've got. So whatever your RV is, the fancy espresso machine you never use, the sewing equipment for a hobby you quit 10 years ago, let it go. Let someone else find joy in it. You can find joy in the peace of mind it leaves behind. Number 4. Sell the second car. This is a simple one. If you aren't rushing to an office anymore and you and your spouse are both retired, how often do you really need to be in 2 different places at the exact same minute? My neighbors, the Taylors, a sweet couple in Portland, both retired teachers, they had 2 SUVs. One of them sat in the garage so long the battery turned to stone. They finally sold it last autumn. You know what they did? They took a train trip across the Canadian Rockies. Would you rather have a hunk of metal in the garage or the memory of watching the mountains go by while sharing a pot of tea? Number 5. Sell your work identity. When I finally closed the bakery in 2008, I was 84 years old. I couldn't knead the bread like I used to. My wrists were giving out. I thought I would be fine. I had my knitting, my garden, and Arthur. But for the first year, I was adrift. Do you hear me? Adrift. For over 50 years, I was Rose the baker, Rose from the Sweet Life Bakery. People knew me by the flour on my apron. I knew myself by the cakes I decorated. And suddenly, I wasn't that person anymore. I'd wake up and wonder what the point of the morning was. Arthur found me crying in the pantry one day, just quiet tears, staring at my old mixing bowls. He asked me, "Rose, who are you when the oven is off?" And I didn't have an answer. That's the scary part. 84 years old, and I didn't know who I was without my apron. You are so much more than your career. But if you don't realize that before you hang up your hat, retirement will feel like a long goodbye. Start now. Find the parts of your soul that have nothing to do with your paycheck. Nurture them, so when the work stops, you don't stop with it. Now, let's talk about the things you can't put a price tag on. Number 6. Sell your grudges. I didn't speak to my sister-in-law, Martha, for nearly 25 years. You want to know why? I honestly can't tell you. That's the tragedy. I don't remember. Something about a comment at a wedding or a dish that wasn't returned. It felt like a matter of principle then, but now it's just a void. Martha passed away in 2005. I found out from a cousin. I missed the funeral. 25 years of silence, and I missed the chance to just say, "I love you anyway." That grudge cost me so much. It cost me holidays with my nephews. It cost me the comfort of a sister. It cost me a quarter century of carrying a heavy, useless stone in my pocket. So, do this today. Think of one person you've cut off, one resentment you're nursing, and ask yourself, is this worth taking to my grave? Because that's the price. You are trading your precious remaining days for bitterness. Pick up the phone, send a card, humble yourself. Pride is a cold companion in an empty house. Number 7, sell your fear of what people think. When I married Arthur in 1994, I was 70 and he was 65, and he was a man from a completely different background than my first husband. People in my small town whispered. They gossiped at the hair salon. Even some of my cousins said I was moving too fast or being frivolous in my age. And you know what I did? I put on my brightest hat, took Arthur's arm, and walked down Main Street like a queen. Because I was 70 years old, I had already buried one husband, and I had wasted far too many years being proper for the neighbors. I wasn't going to spend another minute worrying about the opinions of people who didn't walk in my shoes. Arthur used to say, "Rose, those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind." He was right. Most people aren't thinking about you nearly as much as you fear they are. They're too busy worrying about their own hemlines. So stop performing. Wear the purple dress. Take the dance class. The opinions of strangers are worth nothing. The people who truly love you just want to see you smile. Number 8, sell your need to control everything. My daughter, Lydia, is 74 now, and she's still as sharp-tongued as ever. When she was raising her own children, I used to drive her crazy. I had an opinion on everything, what she fed them, what she dressed them in, how she disciplined them. One day she said to me, "Mama, I love you, but you need to stop. These are my children. Let me make my own mistakes." And it stung. It stung because she was right. I wanted to shield her from every burnt dinner and every scraped knee, but that wasn't love. That was my own anxiety trying to run her life. And control just drives the people you love away. I'm still learning at 102 that you can give a suggestion, but you can't live the life for them. The tighter you squeeze, the more people want to pull away. Trust the people you raised. Let them stumble. They'll find their footing just like you did. Number 9. Sell your perfectionism. I baked thousands of cakes in my life, beautiful cakes. But you know what? Some of them had a crack in the icing. Some were a little lopsided. And for years, those tiny flaws would keep me awake. I'd think about a wedding cake from 1975 and cringe at a leaf that wasn't quite right. What a waste of moonlight. Done is always better than perfect. A life full of messy mistakes is 1,000 times better than a life spent waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. My aunt used to say, "Rose, the cake doesn't have to be a masterpiece. It just has to taste like love. It just has to let people celebrate. Stop obsessing over the details. Perfectionism is just fear in a fancy Sunday dress. Take the dress off and get to living." Number 10, and this is the most important one, sell your someday. I had a list when I was 60, 70, 80, a list of things I'd do someday. Someday I'll visit the coast of Maine. Someday I'll learn to paint watercolors. Someday I'll tell my brother how much I admire. You know what someday is? It's a thief. It whispers that you have forever while it sneaks out the back door with your time. I never made it to Maine. My brushes are still in the box. And my brother? I finally told him I loved him, but he was already in a hospital bed, and I don't know if he heard me. Why do we wait? Right now, get a pencil. Write down 3 things you're saving for someday. A trip, a phone call, a dream. Now cross out someday and write this Tuesday. Because here is the secret. Someday isn't on any calendar I've ever seen. The only day you actually own is the one you're breathing in right now.
I've buried 2 husbands. I've buried my siblings and most of my oldest friends. Almost everyone I started this journey with is gone. And the only things I regret aren't the mistakes. It's the things I didn't do because I thought I'd have more time. There is never as much time as you think. Not for me at 102, and not for you. So sell the big house. Stop trying to fix your adult children. Sell the toys you don't play with. Sell the extra car. Sell your work title. Sell your grudges. Sell your fear of the neighbors. Sell your need to be in charge. Sell your perfectionism. And for heaven's sake, sell your someday. That's 10 things. 10 things that are making your life heavy when it should be light. Arthur said to me right before he went, he was 91 and he could feel the wind changing. He took my hand and said, "Rose, promise me you won't stop finding the light." And I promised him. I keep choosing joy, not because life is easy, but because being miserable is a waste of the time I have left. That's the real thing to sell. Sell your bitterness. It's too expensive to keep. Go call someone you love. Say what needs saying. Take the trip. Give the forgiveness. And do it now. Not someday. Now. Because I'm 102, and I'm telling you, someday is a ghost. Don't wait for it. Now go on. Go live. I'll see you later.